So this video is really built to help you improve your hand positioning in your form. As you go throughout the form, you want to learn the pattern first, then you try and have a really stable base, right? And we worked on that already. And as we proceed up to fixing our hands, we're looking at a couple things. One, the little details of exactly where your hands end up as you do the form, right? Is it in the chamber? Is it here? Is it there? Knowing exactly where it goes. And then also the pathing that we use to get there, right? How do you set coil and uncoil to maximize power in these movements, right? Throughout the form of Taisabaki. So we're going to take a quick look at the form one time just to kind of refresh your memory, and then we'll go into the details that we use, or the drills that we use to fix those little details in terms of our hand positioning. Okay, so this particular video is going to really focus on the hand positioning for our form Taisabaki, right? And there's really two parts to what you do with your hands, right? One, where they end up, and two, how they get there. Both are important, right? If you don't end up in the right place, well, that's certainly problematic, right? You did the wrong thing with your hands. But if you don't get there the right way, you're not maximizing power, right? And you're not developing the coordination that we really aim to develop when we practice a form. So with that being said, we're going to start by focusing in on the hand positioning as we go to do the first couple of high blocks as we turn into a front stance. Now, first and foremost, when you go to do a high block, that hand has got to set before it goes, right? When you set for a high block, you always point your palms towards each other like this, right? The hand that's on the bottom is going to do the high block. The hand that's on the top is going to go back to the chamber. Now, if I'm going to high block this way, right, what I want to do is I want to have my high block hand opposite of how it's going to end up. So it's over here, it's going to end up over there. It's kind of like you're winding up and throwing your block. It's not dissimilar to how you throw a baseball or really a football or lots of different balls. You bring your hand back opposite of where it's going to end up over there, and that lets you wind up and generate a lot of force. Your chamber hand is always going to end up opposite, or set opposite of where it ends up. It always ends up here. Now let's talk about chamber for a second. Your chamber is either on or above your belt. It's elbow pulled back. Right, so if you look here, my elbow is kind of behind me, not out this way. That's the same for every single technique. It ends up here, right? During this form, there's really only two things we're going to do, a palm heel or a high block. So if you know those two endpoints, you're in a good place there. A high block is always going to be in front of our head, right? You can see it from the side here. It's in front by about one fist. That's how far away it should be from your head, okay? It should be slightly slanted, right? Like most of the time, most people have slanted roofs so the rain and the snow kind of falls off. We want to have that angle so if we block the high blocking, the thing that we're blocking gets pushed off and deflects down instead of crushing into us. Okay? We want to block with our forearm, so we want our forearm in front of our forehead. If we're hands in front of forehead, we're going to block with our hands. Those fingers are going to break. All right? So high block, big things slanted, forearm in front of forehead by about a fist. Okay, that's the end point for both all four of the high blocks in this form. Right? When we do a palm heel, it's pretty straightforward. It's palm heel. Right? You're hitting with the heel of your palm, hence the name palm heel. Your arm is almost straight. We don't want to be perfectly straight. You'll start to hurt your elbow if you do that. We want it slightly bent. And it's pretty much always pushing about as high as your solar plexus, right? Pushes out about here, right, for both the moves in the form. Okay? So now that we know where it ends up, which is kind of the easy part because you're pretty familiar with a high block at this stage of the game, and you're pretty familiar with a palm heel in all likelihood. Let's talk about how we get there. Right? So let's start the form. We go to break. I forgot to go over the details of the break. That's something I'm going to do in a minute. Right? I'm going to set my hands. I point my palms towards each other. Right? I set my foot. Right? Now you should be looking that way, but I can't do that and teach you at the same time. I'm going to turn, do my high block. These hands pull apart. One comes back to the chamber. One hand comes out. And then a break. Then I'm going to do the same thing the other side. I set my hands, right? My palms face towards each other. I step back, and I turn, and I high block, and I break. We're just going to keep switching sides, right? Now, the hand that's blocking is always the one that's closest towards where you're going in this particular step of the form, right? So I'm blocking the side. I look, there's someone coming. Oh, no. I set my hands to block. I set my foot, right? And if you don't know how to set your foot, well, you can look at the footwork focused version of this form, and boom, just like that. I have my arm up. Do it again. Break. Other side. Set my hand. Well, look first. Set your hands. Palms face each other. Set your foot, and then snap into action. Powerful high block, right? And break. Now, one of the best things about training in your uniform, as compared to training in a t-shirt, is it's going to give you feedback, right? And that feedback is that rustling sound your uniform makes when you generate power. Right, so we refer to that as snapping the gi. If you can snap your gi as you do your block, that's a good indicator of power. Right? I'm going to talk about that more in another video on how to generate power in this form. But with that being said, we break. We're going to go high block each side one more time. We reach back, our hands are set, right? And I've already looked before, and I block, and I break. Look, set your hands, set your foot, and go. Okay, and break. Okay, next step in the form is horse dances. We're going to do horse dance and palm heel. We have to know how to set our hands for this. The hand that's going to do the palm heel, in this case this one, I put kind of like it's in the chamber, but my palm is open because I'm going to be doing a palm heel strike. So I don't start in a fist and then transition in the middle. I can just set it up here. This hand is over the top of that. This is referred to as stacked, right? So this hand is above it. If you look at it from the side, it's like that. And as that palm heel, they both push and pull at the same time. Okay? So let's take a look at that. I break. We're going to do the palm heel with your left hand as you turn to your right. So you would look. The attack is actually from the front, so you would look straight ahead. Set your hands, set your foot, step back, and then you twist, palm heel, and then you break. Right? Now, as you're doing this, the hand that's closest to the screen should end up doing the palm heel. Right? If you're not doing that, you're probably doing this wrong unless you're turned sideways or something. Right? I'm going to set my hands. Right? So I have my right hand underneath, my left hand on top. I step back behind my foot, twist palm heel. Good, and again, you can see my elbow's a little bit bent, right? You don't want your arm to go all the way to full extension. You will start to hurt yourself, especially as you get better at this and you generate more force, right? So we're gonna do that one more time each side. I set, I step back, and then I turn. And then I break. I'm gonna set, I step back, I set my foot, and I turn. And I break. Okay, so if you're having a hard time with this one or the previous one, feel free to go back, pause, whatever you need to do, but we're going to keep moving along. And by we, I mean me, right? I'm going to keep moving along and get ready for the cat stance. As we go into the cat stance, it's the same thing as the high block from before, but we got to mix up our hands because we're going to block forward. What we're thinking about is someone's coming to attack us from the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step back with my right leg. As I step back with my right leg, my left hand sets underneath. You can see my body's turned sideways. Okay, that comes from your footwork being done properly, but it's on purpose. I want this sideways action. And then this hand that's on the bottom is going to push forward into a high block. Okay, so let's try that again. We're going to do the same side one more time. Right? So your left hand sets under, your right foot steps back, and high block. Right, let's do it even one more time, even slower. Right, so I'd look, I'd set my hands, I'd set my foot, and I go. Okay, we're going to do the exact same thing the other side. Right, I'm going to step back with my left foot. My right hand is underneath. That should be the one that's closest to the screen. Right? And I've coiled up nicely, so when I twist, I shoot up and generate power into that high block. All right, we're going to try that again. All right, I set, and I go. Good, one more time. I'm going to show you this one sideways because I think it's useful. I'm going to set. You can see how my hands are. This hand's up by my shoulder. This hand's down by, like, next to my belly button. And then I twist, and I high block. Okay, so far so good. Coming up on one step, two step. One step, two step, it's got a couple different hand movements. First one is actually the one that's a little bit hard. The second one's just a palm heel. Okay, so the first one is when I go to step, I'm actually going to bring my hands out like this. You can see that they're crossed, kind of at the middle of my forearm. Right? So as I go to step, right, I'm here, I step, my arms come out as I step. And then as I bring my other foot in, they shoot into the chamber with power and energy. Right? Not just like, no, powerful. Right? So watch it again. Step, cross your arms. Step in, hands shoot in. So you have your hands at your sides at the same exact moment that you have your feet come together. Now as I go to do the palm heel, I just palm heel. All right? So I'll show it to you once from this side. I step out and I palm heel. It's pretty straightforward. There's not much to this particular movement, right? So watch it again. I go to do one step, here, two step, palm heel. Then I come back and I leave the hand in the exact same place. You don't bring it back. And I break. Okay, now we're going to do the other side, right? When I go to reach my foot and I'm setting my hands, they're crossed. As I bring my feet in, my hands come in at the same time. As I do my two-step, I just kneel down, and I'm going to palm heel with, well, you're going to probably be doing with your right hand. Step out, palm heel. And come back and break. All right, so I'm going to show you that one from the side one more time. Kind of drop a little bit out of frame on this because really focus up high on this form, but that's okay. One step, or at least this, go with the form. As I step out, you can see this hand, palm heels out. Boom. And I come back, and I break. And then from the other side, one step. This good posture, hands are in, step out, palm heel, come back, my hand stays up. And I break. Okay. So, each of these movements, you know how to set and how to do it, right? And you can do almost the entire form now, but we didn't do the break. So I want to talk about the break for a second, because a lot of people don't think of the break as being very important because it's simple, right? But there's a lot of simple things in life that we know are very, very important, and if we don't take care of them, all of a sudden we take them for granted and they disappear, right? When we break, it's a time where we take a moment to relax and breathe. And the action of our arms is arms out. I'm inhaling as I'm doing this. They come up, they cross, and they come down. Okay, so again, out, up, cross, and down. A lot of people do a very short one like this. We don't like that. Deep breath. Deep breath out. And if you really take the break seriously and you do it properly, you're going to find that you're going to relax more, which is going to let your speed and power come out, which is really the whole thing we're trying to develop within a form. Balance, speed, power, it depends on what state you're in, right? And relaxing really helps you to move much, much faster, right? So we know how to do each of the movements in the form. I'm going to run the form from a couple different angles. You're welcome to try and keep up, right? Or practice by yourself, just reviewing those different movements. I can do it one time with you. We'll play that. Practice as many times as you want. So here we go. Going slow. Break. We're going to set our hands, set our foot, and turn, block, break. The other side, set your hands, set your foot, turn and block, and break. Right, now think, we got the horse turns, we got the palm heel, right? Set your hands, set your foot, palm heel, break. Other side, set your hands, set your foot, palm heel, and break. Take a second, think about how you're going to set your hands, which block it is. I guess it's a high block, so I got to set it low. Right? I'm going to step back with my right, set low with my left. I'm all coiled up. I uncoil, and I high block. So many things to remember. Other side, set, and high block. And break. Good, now we do one step, two step. One step, I bring my feet together, my hands, I take my first step, my arms are crossed. As I bring my feet together, my hands come in. I step out to that palm heel. I come back, I leave the palm heel out. And then I do that nice break. Cross your arms, it's important. Okay, other side. Remember, as I do that one step, my arms cross, and then they come in as my feet come in. I'm gonna step, heel and palm heel, and come back, keep the arm out, I break. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna run this a couple times for you to maybe follow along, see different angles of how this is done, right? But the beautiful thing about practicing forms is they're designed for you to practice by yourself. So at-home training, forms are really perfect for, right? And you can go back and do each step as many times as you need until you feel comfortable, confident, and competent.